Coming to you live from inside of a steering wheel. No, I'm not. I'm not live, and I'm not inside a steering wheel. Just inside a car. I just started off this episode with two lies. Yet you're probably still gonna watch, but I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys watching the stuff that I have to say. I'm learning. I'm getting more information. I'm fixing some of the stuff that I say that is probably wrong or misinformed or maybe put incorrectly, not properly articulated. And I'm not the best at articulating, but I try. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate that. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I think today it's worse in that I don't really know where I'm going with this. If anything, this is just a rant that may not actually even have a conclusion or actually even have a direction. But let me first perhaps start off by saying that this is not a video about soccer or football, whatever you call it, wherever you are. It's not a video about soccer players. It's a rant about racism. In recent weeks, recent days, around May 2023, I don't remember exactly what date it was. There was a game between Valencia and Real Madrid, teams from Spain in the La Liga, and they were playing at the Mestalla, which is the home ground for Valencia. Now, Real Madrid has a player, black player. His name is Vinicius Jr. He's an amazing player, incredible guy, punishes defenders and thereby punishes spectators off the opposing team because, of course, they love their team, they love their defenders. But here's this guy who's just showing them flames. I mean, he's probably always got 2 or 3 guys around him and he's just always doing circles around them. In this particular match, he was racially abused, and it's not the first time that happens to him. That happens to him a lot. He gets racially abused, and obviously that's not nice. Vinicius Jr. is not the only black player in Real Madrid, but of course he's the one who suffers the most racial abuse in the team, and not from his teammates, not from the members of Real Madrid, and probably not from the spectators of Real Madrid, but from opposing teams and opposing spectators. Let me just also expand on my thinking because, of course, the things that I'm gonna say might rub some people wrong, but I just want to show where I'm coming with this. So, Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the greatest players of all time, also got a lot of abuse from spectators, a lot of abuse from the press. At some point, he didn't even want to talk to the press because the press always put him in a corner. They always made him out to be a bad guy. They always tried to push him to just make him say things, and then they twist his words and all that kind of stuff. And being a man of his stature, it's really difficult when you say something and then it's taken to mean something else, and then your public image is tainted. For a man in his position, it's really not favorable. But then from the fans, you can expect that people are going to try to get under your skin. But this is something that exists all over sports. In boxing, these guys go at each other's faces and try to trash talk each other just so I can intimidate you and get under your skin. This happens in basketball as well. You see it in rugby, which is somewhat official. In the beginning of the match, there's this thing, I think they call it the haka, where these guys are dancing intimidatingly, trying to instill fear into their opponents. And the All Blacks, which is the team from New Zealand, does this really well. Their hug is really intimidating. Plus, they're big. Rugby players are massive. So, banter, trash talk, and such things are things that happen in sports. It's not anything that's new. It's not something that's gonna stop. It's just there. If I can get under your skin, even in card games, poker, as much as the bluff is important, if I can get under your skin and get your mind out of the game, I have an advantage over you. And that is a lot of what Cristiano Ronaldo suffered from. Fans, as much as he's probably the most loved sports person or soccer player, he's also probably the most hated because, again, like I say, he punishes. your defenders. He punishes your team. So therefore, he punishes the spectators of the opposing team. So they hate him. And yes, he's had a rivalry with Lionel Messi, who I don't think had as much suffering as Ronaldo did. So I'm not really sure how spectators choose who to hate and who not to hate. But that's a topic for another day. But my point here is that banter, trash talk, trying to get you out of your game is something that happens. Cristiano Ronaldo got booed a lot, and this is something similar to what we're seeing happening to Vinicius Jr. The unfortunate thing is that Vinicius Jr. happens to be black, and then some people put that into their banter, some people put that into their trash talk, and honestly, that crosses the line. It's like a yo mama joke that goes just a bit too far. It's like the N word said by certain people. Certain words within South Africa you cannot say, regardless of whether you're black, white, Indian, whatever. There are certain things that just shouldn't say. They're not really good for you to say them. I think we do have a long way to go as humanity in the way of getting rid of racial stigma and racial prejudice. Of course, there are certain groups of people that behave in certain ways or have certain traditions and cultures that they adhere to, which differ from perhaps the next person in the next culture. And I guess that does open up space for people to mock. But I think more importantly is that it opens up space for people to be curious and for people to communicate and ask questions, ask each other questions. I've had conversations with a lot of people from all walks of life, different colors, different religions, different nationalities, in fact. But I ask questions. I try to figure people out because I understand that I'm just a black Tsonga boy from Bushbuck Ridge. I wouldn't really know a lot of what happens out there. I wouldn't really know what other people do for for a living, or whatever they do for fun, or what they eat, or what they're interested in, or whatever. What maybe I might do as a tradition for them is a taboo. So I need to ask in order for me to understand. And sometimes it's very difficult to know what passes for a question, an acceptable question, and what then becomes an offensive question. And that's a very difficult line to draw. But then in some cases, when people offend other people racially, or whichever way that they offend them, they actually know what they're doing and they're actually going for it. And I'm not trying to defend the guys who harass or abuse Vinicius Jr. or people who abuse anyone for that matter. I'm not trying to harass them. But perhaps there might be some people who are trying to come at this from a sports point of view to say, I'm trying to get into this player's mind. But then the mistake that you do is that you now end up going into untouchable realm when you now go into a person's race. Even for him, Vinicius Jr. is a very young guy, still a kid. For him to be able to handle that is difficult. He's in a foreign land. Yes, he's with the team players, which probably treat him as like family. But he's still in a foreign land. He's still a kid. He's still trying to understand and navigate this whole thing. I mean, he's now a world star. There's a lot of weight that is on his shoulders, and on top of that, he's being abused. I mean, it's a lot for anyone to carry, and I think that it is unfair. And I think that people should start really understanding that, as much as yes, it's a term we're making your mama jokes. Maybe there's a certain yo mama joke that you can't make about a certain person. Maybe you can't really make a certain yo mama joke to someone who actually doesn't have a mama, or maybe their mama does something that you're gonna want to joke about. Maybe it's not real. It's not really cool anymore. It just goes beyond. It's a bit too far, as we say. Again, I say this is not a episode about sports. It's just me trying to just rant really about stuff that's happening out there. I mean, we also see it with the Little Mermaid. They made a new movie now, but it's not animated anymore. I think it's not. Yeah, it's not. And there was a big hullabaloo about the race of the Little Mermaid. Why should that be a problem? I mean, honestly, even the whole, okay, maybe let me rather not talk about that. That's completely, it's a whole new topic altogether. But the Little Mermaid is a fictional character. I think, yes, through time we've been, sort of programmed to imagine these fictional characters as white characters. And I guess I can understand they were probably created, a lot of them were created by white characters, in fact. I guess they just decided that Aladdin is not going to be a white guy. But then I don't think anyone had a problem. Maybe they did have a problem when Will Smith was Aladdin. He's a black guy. I don't think Aladdin was traditionally black. But then again, it doesn't matter because that is a fictional character. It can be anything that we want that thing to be. I mean, they're just. South Africa is a country that is filled with black people. And it is a place in which a lot of racism takes place. A lot of black people do suffer racism from white people. But I think that actually a lot of black people also suffer a lot of racism from other black people. And that really hurts me. That our own brothers, our own sisters end up being the ones that cause us the most hate, that cause us the most pain. And that is really irksome. We're being so harsh on people, on foreign immigrants. Yes, there's a lot of them who do bad stuff. There's a lot of black South Africans who do bad things. There's a lot of white South Africans who do bad things. Let that be an issue in and of itself. Let us find a way to deal with that. For us to punish now an entire nation of people simply based on the fact that they are not one of us, is really unfair from my point of view. I think we need to understand that Earth in of itself, the only borders that the Earth sort of created is the ocean. Oceans, large bodies of water, that is what we can say is a border. But everything else is essentially stuff that we created. Okay, yes, sure, the Himalayas is a really tall mountain range, which is really difficult to go over. So maybe that was like a part where the Earth was like, I'm just gonna make it fun and just also create a barrier or a border on land. But essentially, the borders would be maybe the water in the ocean. And what that would then mean is that the entirety of Africa, being one huge landmass, honestly should be one place. And it should be of one people. Yes, of course, because of geographical location and all these other factors, we differ in our skin color. But the fact that we all exist on this planet means that we are human. The fact that we can differentiate ourselves from animals, the fact that we can think and be intellectuals and articulate and create and build and imagine the things that we have imagined and built and created and done. And the fact that we've been able to transfer and store the knowledge that we have done, and the fact that we've been able to harness the beauty and the energy and the resources that we have on this planet and to get to where we are. That in of itself is a sign of greatness, and that greatness lies within us all as human beings. But we have created systems that just lock us in to an ecosystem that ensures that certain people live nicely, live lavishly, and live. The word escapes me. This English stuff. This always happens. Manyaka. They live a good life, and then the rest of the people, which is most people, suffer for it. If you're going to build a car is going to probably, at the very least, need just one person to drive it. Maybe at most you can have 5 people sitting in it. but the number of people it's going to take to build it is a lot. You're going to need a lot of people that are going to build a car just so that 1 or 5 people can ride in it. That just goes to show the imbalance that exists in the utilization of resources, that you need so many people to process things just so very few can enjoy them. And you see this all over the world. I mean, you look at the majority of people who live in this planet are suffering from so many things, whereas very few people are actually living good life. People suffering in a place like Zimbabwe, for example, doesn't make sense when people in South Africa have resources, have knowledge, have access. It seems to me like what makes sense to me is that actually I strongly believe that this is how life was supposed to be, but we then just corrupted it and made it to be what it is today. And we keep on perpetuating it. We keep on perpetuating the systems that have been built to get us to where we are today, instead of us actually putting everything aside and going back to our basic humanity to say, okay, guys, we're humans. How do we ensure that all other human beings remain alive? How do we ensure that all other human beings prosper? And we live and we create and we improve our lives. Not so that one person can be richer than the other, but so that life can be easier for each and every generation that comes by. When we create cars and ships and airplanes that are able to get us to travel thousands of kilometers, it shouldn't be such that some are able to travel certain kilometers and some are not. It should be so that all of us are able to do that, so that all of us are able to share resources, so that all of us are able to imagine life differently. And then all of us are able to create things based on the things that we've seen in our experiences and the gifts that have been given to us and the creativity that we have. Certain things, if Charles Darwin was not able to go to those islands that he went to observe the things that he observed, he would not probably have created what the theories that he created. But it is in traveling that we're able to see things and imagine life differently. But we've made traveling, which I believe should be something that everyone should be able to do. I believe people were able to do that a long time ago. But now you try to travel, well, you need money to do that. You try to travel, well, you need a passport to pass here. You can't pass here. When you pass here, you're trespassing. How am I trespassing? Like the grass or the field or the whatever simply continues. I can literally walk there. But then someone decides, I'm going to put a fence here. And because you are there, you are South African. And because I am here, I'm Zimbabwean. And you cannot come this side. And I look at that and I'm like, this is crazy. And what that has done is it has divided us into thinking, okay, so now we have to have our own and we have to barricade ourselves in some sort of safety in our own bubbles. And then what that has done is that humanity keeps dying. You see your neighbor, you don't care about them. You see some stranger, you don't care about them because they're not you. They're not part of your circle. Whether they're white, black, maroon, whatever, to you it doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but then it doesn't matter because, like, I don't care about these people. And the moment you see another human being, it's not that they're a human being. It's they're either a black human being or they're a white human being. And, like, why should these things matter? Again, I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know what point I'm making. I'm just really going on a rant. It would probably be better if I had someone to converse with so that I can be able to take out the frustration properly in an organized manner, because now I'm just all over the place and I don't know where I'm going. But I really just think that a lot has to change. I know a lot of people know that a lot of things have to change. I know a lot of people believe that a lot of things have to change. But I really have to start with the systematic. We really have to start with the systems that have been put in place that ensure that we stay the way we are, that ensure that we suffer the way we are, that we ensure that we keep on making ourselves and each other suffer. Because right now, that is the biggest issue you get. A person who is not affluent, who is not white, who is not a foreigner or is not European, is going to harass and punish another guy simply because they're black and maybe because they're not from this country. You see a guy who is white, you're probably not gonna harass him. regardless of whether he is of this country or not. Probably not. And that's the sort of tradition, that's the sort of culture that we have bred. People harassing black people. And I'm not saying white people harassing black people. I'm saying people harassing black people. Because black people have somehow become the villains of this earth. They've become the bottom people in the hierarchy of life. And everyone just wants to harass them. Vinicius Jr. is an amazing soccer player. He's incredible. But just because he's black and because he's great and he's black, he suffers. There's a lot of black guys in the Real Madrid team. They don't suffer anywhere as much as Real Madrid, as Vinicius Jr. does. Probably because they're not as great as he is. Why should one be punished for being great? That's not a world. That's not a world I want to live in. People's greatness should be celebrated, not punished. People's kindness, people's love, people's generosity, those things should be celebrated. Not the color of their skin, not where they come from. We are all off this earth. And I think we should put that forward before anything else. Are you a human being? Yes. Let me treat you as such. First of all, if you've done good, I'm going to treat you as such. If you've done bad, I'm going to treat you as such. But the basis of it all should be that I should treat you as a human being. And then everything else should follow. Certain things shouldn't even follow, shouldn't even matter at all. Race shouldn't even matter. Gender shouldn't even matter. Okay, yes, sure. To an extent, it should matter. The gender thing should matter because, I mean, there are certain intrinsic traits and characters about men and women that differ. You know, I wouldn't just expect a woman to just pee here, just right here, but then a man can probably do that because it's much more dignified, or okay, not really dignified, but it's just less undignifying. I'm going way off topic here. But I think, we should really remember to treat people as human beings because that is what we are before and above anything else. Thank you for watching.